We've got a great video of Prince William talking about his kids and showing off that bracelet.
This is I think a relic, if you like, from a Taylor Swift concert that my daughter decided that she wanted to create a bracelet for, and she gave it to me when I came away. So I promised I'd wear it and try not to lose it while I was out here.
And Pandora, this continues on from our previous point. This sort of openness, I think, does the Prince and the royal family a wonder of credibility with the public.
Yeah, I think any parent in the UK, if they've got a young daughter, has got the Swift madness going on. I think that's also the same for you guys, right, across the pond. And I think also we saw that picture, didn't we, of Taylor Swift with the children when she did have the concert in London. And I think it's so sweet that even despite William speaking about some very serious subjects, which of course Louise already noted, he's evidently very passionate about and very much follows in his father's footsteps in this, about the environment. But the fact is, he's away from his children at an incredibly difficult time where their mother is going through something which is utterly tremendous on so many different levels, and he's been so open about it. And despite this, he still has the link back to them, just to sort of note that if they do see Daddy on TV or wherever they might be seeing him, that there will be that bracelet there. And he has to be so open with the public at such a difficult time. And I think this just goes to show again just how human he is, how relatable he is as a parent as well. And actually, I just think it just goes to show how much love that he has for his children. And he's not afraid, despite his position, to be so open about that in trying times, which is really lovely to see.
Yeah, I think it's commendable, that sort of openness, and I think it's something that we probably haven't historically seen in the royal family. But also this week, the first joint appearances for the Sussexes for some time. We've got some video.
We are at a crossroads where the urgency to reassess and redefine our approach to protecting children has become increasingly evident. While the necessity has always been apparent, it is now time to translate that awareness into meaningful action. So we thank you all for your attention to this critical issue.
My husband and I recognize today's reality is marked by greater connectivity and advanced technology, which of course has many positives, but which also compels us to better understand how digital violence against children is manifesting itself in this age.
Louise, what was this statement in aid of?
This video is tied into an inaugural conference being held in Colombia, tackling digital violence against children, which Meghan kind of referenced then. Of course, they were in Colombia in August this year, which was a bit of a controversial trip. There was lots of criticism about it being a faux royal trip and why were they there. But despite all the criticism around it, I do feel they really have honed in on a very good cause here, which is protecting children in the digital space. And in fact, Harry went further to say that he doesn't believe the laws and the legislation globally actually keeps up with what kids are being subjected to. And there's plenty of loopholes where predators, and perhaps he's even addressing social media companies per se, where there's a lot of commercialisation of abuse of children online. And now is the time to actually do something about it. There's been lots of chat. Here's the big conference we're having in Colombia. So they've joined forces after a very separate strategy between them to actually push that cause, which is a good one, I have to say.
And look, our political landscape here in Australia at both state and federal levels is looking at legislation for that very point right at the moment. But Pandora, it did look a little strained and staid, don't you think?
Yeah, look, it's an honourable cause, and the fact that they're speaking out about it on a global platform, I don't think we should really be, saying anything negative about that. But I also do think it does highlight the fact that perhaps people are still a bit confused about Harry and Meghan. This is the first joint appearance they've had in a while. Harry's very much been doing his own thing, solo events. So has Meghan. Now they're coming back together to talk about this. What causes do they really want to focus on? Of course, they have spoken about this cause before in the past. Is this the cause that they're now going to champion? But of course, they're also wearing remembrance poppies, which I think is great, and I think they should be doing. But it was only a few years ago that they were at the cenotaph as well for the Remembrance Day, and that is today for us. So I think it's great. I think it's honourable, but I also think people are still really confused about their brand. And I think it also goes to show and highlight what's next for Harry and Meghan. It's great they're talking about this, but are they going to carry on talking about this and focus in on this now? What are they doing next? I think if I was their PR, which they have changed notably quite a few times, I would be thinking, what's the strategy now? Can they do this forever? Is it sustainable?
Yeah, and Pandora, still with you. We understand from reports this week that apparently Meghan didn't take too well to some fiery comments made by magazine editor Tina Brown a couple of weeks back. What was the report, and is there any basis to these claims?
Yeah, so the former Vanity Fair editor said on the podcast that Meghan had the worst judgment of anyone in the entire world. I think that's a little harsh given everything which is happening in the world at the moment. I, for one, could probably come up with a few personal opinions myself, but I don't think this is the right place to say that, ladies. But listen, Meghan gets a lot of heat when she does do anything, and that is coming from somebody who reports on the royals. No matter what she does, there will always unfortunately be people who don't agree with what she does or what she says, and I think that is important to note. But there'll also be people who agree with absolutely everything and gives her no criticism whatsoever. So look, do I think that these reports are going to hold up, as this is just one of many royal commentators? When I have spoken to people, I'm not quite sure about that. But Meghan has said herself that there is a lot of external noise and she doesn't listen to it. So I'm not quite sure on this. However, what I would say is that Meghan does need to listen, or her advisors need to listen to the public opinion if they want any way back to the royal family or to the UK in the future. And perhaps some of these comments and opinions do need to be heard to a certain extent. Perhaps not this one, but I also think they need to be fair and balanced. You've got to take the positive with the negative, and unfortunately, when you're on a public platform, some criticism does need to be made sometimes.
And I think that's a very fair observation and a great way to end. Louise Roberts, Pandora Forsyth, thank you so much for joining us.